Alrighty, folks. We're back and we are live. Today, we are going to discuss the newest model from Claude Anthropic called Fable 5. This is supposed to be the next generation or the fifth generation model that is definitely capable of deploying some really amazing stuff. I've done some other stuff that we're not able to discuss here on the YouTube in this particular channel that was a pretty good one shot for doing some UI UX work in a Next.js style application. And with literally a single prompt, we were able to produce something that an entire dev team might have previously taken several days to come up with the sort of minimum viable product, MVP, if you wish. And it took us maybe 10 minutes to craft that prompt and then sat there for maybe 10 more, 20 more minutes at the most. And it did everything. It tested it spun up its own system to check to make sure drag and drop was working. It was wild, folks. It was this is the so far the most advanced platform I have seen, and I figured since we tried and failed, most of you may have not even seen it since we failed, I didn't keep it listed. We tried to do this live broadcast before because I've been asked several times, how can I run a I got a MacBook or I got a Mac Mini or I've got a gaming PC. How can I run some of this stuff locally? Well, the trouble that we've found is, you might be able to chat and say, hey, write this code for me, and it can write you some code, and then you can copy and paste it and throw it into your own editor and run it, and it might work that way, and it might be great. The problem is, for me at least, is having tool calls. I'm a big proponent now since Claude Code has come out of being able to do these tool calls. And that was where we were failing, is the local models simply don't understand enough of the Claude Code situation to be able to call the various tools that Anthropic is using. And so for this broadcast, we're going to focus on the basics. We're going to stick to what we know works, and then later on, if there's demand, we can figure out how to make some of the local models like Gemma 4 or Kimi K 2.6 work in a Claude Code style environment or an open code environment. But you've got to work very differently, and it's a very different process than what you're going to see here tonight, because like I said, I've done this before now for the past couple days for the day job, and then we actually had early access to Fable at one of my operations that I'm involved in, and it is wild, some of the stuff we can make it produce. And then a couple housekeeping notes tonight. I am a medical first responder that is on duty tonight, so if you start hearing some weird noises in the background and I say I gotta go, that means I have been dispatched to a medical call, and we'll just simply start this broadcast over again some other point. Hopefully we don't have to do that, because I don't like running off and helping people that are in need. It's something we have to do, but I don't like doing it, especially when you show up at someone's house and they've been down and out for too many hours, and they're not able to help themselves, and we kind of have to make decisions for them that may or may not be what they actually want. So just keep that in mind, folks. If I end up taking off, that I'm going to help somebody else, and we'll just redo this broadcast some other time. And so the first step, if you're just a crypto bro and don't have your Claude situation first, you're going to want to go buy the $20 a month Claude Max or Claude Pro plan. You don't necessarily need the $100 one out the box unless you think you're really gonna hit it hard. And then the other problem with Fable 5 is technically it's only included in the subscription until June 22nd. and then it becomes very, very, very expensive in the API. It's like 2x expend more, 2 times the cost than like Opus 4.8 on like fast mode. And so, but in the meantime, it is included in the Pro plans and the Pro Max plans. It's just included. There's no additional cost at this point. So we might as well use it, all right? So your first step is to go and simply download the Claude desktop application. We're going to do things in the desktop application this time. If you really don't want the desktop application, you can use the CLI if you're an old school guy like I was. The CLI works perfectly fine, and some are saying the CLI might get newer features or beta features first to prove that they work, and then slowly they'll come into the desktop version. But for tonight's activity, I think the desktop version will be more than enough. So then once you get in, it's going to want you to sign into your Claude Code subscription situation. I would definitely avoid providing an API key for this, because you will not like the fees. And I'm telling you, folks, I'm absolutely telling you. So definitely get that $20 plan started and sign in, and you'll be at basically this sort of situation. And what we want to do is go to the code tab, like I flipped to over here. And then it's going to want you to select a directory. So I've just picked and created a directory for tonight's activities. And then I prepped things a little bit with given that directory an ABI subdirectory with a couple ABIs that we know we'll need. And then I just wrote up a prompt here so that it would be nice and clean, and we can get a sort of first task out of the way really quickly, and then we can add to it and do some more interesting stuff as the man. And if you have any questions you want to do, throw them in the comments and I'll try to get to them. It is a one-man band here, so I've got a couple screens I am looking at, but I got to remember to look over at the one screen. So, all right. So now that you have Claude Code installed and you have your subscription set up, you're logged in, we're not going to start with anything else. There's a whole bunch of things you could do with, like agents and skills and whatnot. We're not going to do that. We're literally just going to copy this prompt in here, and basically the prompt is simply, help me create a Node.js app. I'll make that a little bigger over here. That uses .env and ethers.js 5.8 because we have not jumped the ship to the 6.0 branch yet. That's why I'm saying that. And then to watch Uniswap v2 clone pair contracts for swap events. So if you're not familiar with that, any of that lingo is, hopefully you are, but that we're going to simply watch the contract itself. We're going to have a Node.js application go out and watch a known contract itself emit events when swaps are made. And then I feed it the RPC URL that we need, and then the initial pair address, which in this case happens to be the hex with Pulse on the Pulse chain network, because there are relatively active trading going on here. This may even be out of date since my computer went to sleep. No, 9 minutes. Yeah, that's not too bad. But yeah, we can also always change that up if we can end up not getting an active, like we can see. So yeah, 5 minutes ago, 15. Yeah, so we'll be able to find something relatively quickly enough, I'm sure, here. So, but what this is going to do is when a swap occurs, it's just going to print it out. Simple enough task. And then I also say on every swap, show the token symbol and amount swapped to and from, so we can kind of get a visual of what's going on. And then I also say don't forget to check the token decimals before converting to a human readable value. There we go. And then chalk is a JavaScript thing, Node.js thing that gives a nice console output. So we're just going to copy that entire prompt. And then what you want to do is go over to plan mode. Down here at the bottom, you just click into plan mode. And then what that's going to do, it's going to take my prompt and it's going to run an internal skill that it knows about. And it'll start asking us some questions here. Model isn't available. View details. There is an instant. What? This literally, what the heck? I hate this. So literally every time I try to do something with these people, for these people, Claude. What the hell, folks? So apparently we're having technical difficulties. I don't understand what the problem is. I'm on another screen here at the moment. Just to make certain to see if there's any... It works over here. It's my internet. It's on the internet. All right, folks. This is kind of funky here. Why does it not work? I literally just did this. Are you working? So Opus works. No. Why? I wonder if they're like over limit right now or some stupid shit. That is annoying as hell, folks. Why are you working? Literally, Fable 5 is working on another computer that I don't have. Oh, no, it's not. It just failed over there, too. Wonderful, folks. This is fucking great. Well, let's go and how can we yeah, so what if we did not so smart? Are you working? Well, that sucks, folks. Model isn't available. There may be an issue with your selected model, but I do have access to it. But I can go to Opus 4.8 and it works. What? New session. Are you working? Huh. It just popped up here. Fable 5 is temporarily available. Oh, wonderful, folks. I just noticed it. Fable 5 is temporarily unavailable. Well, let's go status Anthropic. Claude status. We have suspended access to Claude. What? Ah, oh, you pieces of dog doo-doo. Ah. Oh, that sucks, folks. I'm over on another screen um, updating my people at work at the day job because that might be a problem. We have launched some stuff that are probably That's not good, folks. So apparently, apparently now, folks, a statement on the U.S. government directive to suspend access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5. The U.S. government, citing national security authorities, has issued an export control directive to suspend access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 by any foreign national, whether inside or outside the United States, including foreign national Anthropic employees. The net effect of this order is that we must abruptly disable Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all customers to ensure compliance. Access to all other Anthropic models will not be affected. We received this directive from the government today, effective 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time. The letter did not provide specific details of its national security concern. Our understanding is that the government believes this has become aware of a method of bypassing or jailbreaking Fable 5. Alrighty, folks. Definitely, yeah. And it says on a tweet, I've been given access. I've seen too. The net effect of this order is that we must disable. Yep, for all access to all other. We apologize for this disruption to our customers. We believe this is a misunderstanding, and we are working to restore access as soon as possible. Wonderful, folks. I decided to go live just because it's a new cool thing to do, apparently, on this whole YouTube thing. And instead now it's a YouTube stream about not about I'm gonna go change the description of this dang thing, and maybe we'll get some other viewers. And I don't know, folks. This is craziness. Stream settings, and Anthropic suspends. I can't even type. Access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5. Update. Wow, folks. Well, if I could spell. So you technically heard it here first, folks. We were live when this happened. Like I was literally testing this, and my wife asked me if I wanted a little snack before going live, so she made me an egg sandwich, and I waited 15 minutes. We would have been in the middle of developing this if I'd have started it any earlier, man. Alrighty, folks. So yeah, we're kind of not able to do this, but well, let's switch over to Opus 4.8 and just let it run. And we can get rid of these other ones here. Delete. And delete that. We don't need all that clutter. And we'll just make you the smartest you can possibly go. And give me your best. Alrighty, folks. So we'll just let it go. And so now it's going to check and see what kind of node version we've got running on this crazy machine, which again, that'd be another thing you would need to install that I just assumed you're going to know to install, because this is definitely not a tutorial of getting things fully installed. If you want that, let me know. Give me a comment, and we can start from the very beginning one of these live streams. And if you truly have no idea what we're doing here, folks, let me know. But yeah, Claude Code and Fable 5 is no longer an option for the moment. So we have pivoted for the moment to use Opus 4.8 in the Ultra Code mode, which should give it its smartest opportunity to perform. And in Opus 4.8 is a great LLM. It's just I was going to ride the hype train of the whole brand new Fable 5 model there, and what? Nope, it's already wanting. So now it's gonna install the dependencies, and then what you can do here, since we're we messed up, folks. We weren't in plan mode because I'd started a new chat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna deny this, and then we'll go into plan mode, see if it has any questions for us. To just say we switched to plan mode. Did you have any questions? All right. So yeah, it would have had to do that anyway, so we didn't really waste a lot of effort. But it actually started going out creating an index.js, which is probably just a boilerplate file for so it knows that it can test and then run something that's gonna run perfectly. Oh, I've already explored everything I've needed. One additional decision. Here we go. So it's now going to ask how should the watcher connect to the chain. So right now we're going to do HTTP because it was asking for a WebSocket or an HPU. So we've only fed it an RPC URL. So we're going to give it the HTTP polling. And then how much detail swap per line. So yeah, symbols amount and context. Yeah, in and out. And yeah, that'll work. And then both answers match what I already drafted. Let me write the plan. So it already basically knew enough since we did ultra code there. It already knew enough of what it's asking, because this was in the end a pretty simple ask even for Opus 4.8. You know, if we're getting into much more complicated stuff, and especially like Next.js or Vite apps or anything graphical, that's a lot more thinking involved than what we gave it here. But this is a first. Here's our plan now. Sweet. So yeah, this is just a first little one shot prompt. So you want a small Node.js app that watches a Uniswap clone pair and prints every swap in human readable colorized form. It contains the ABIs needed. I don't need a comment. Yep. It's gonna single JS. Well, so yeah, and then what we can do is we can revise the plan and said, instead of index, wow, I don't even know where the keyboard's at tonight, folks. Let's call it watcher.js. There we go. There we go. So we'll do that because eventually we'll probably just use the same code base to do a bunch of other cool stuff. So we'll have it call it watcher.js. And then it'll poll and it'll do token in, token out, figure out. Yeah, so what we may want to tell it here for each token and read the symbols. And then what we can do is just, since I know this is something that if you're vibe coding this, you might not know, but what I'm going to do is just going to say, remember that token 0 and token 1 in the pair contract needs to actually be matched to the token in and token out contracts. And so, because in the pair contracts, they do some sorting based on the hexadecimal value of the token 0 versus token 1 to figure out which token 0 and token 1 actually is. Because sometimes token 0 is not necessarily the native token. If the other token has got a lower value, I believe, then it's token 0. And see, good catch, critical, correct this point. In Uniswap event, the amount 0 always belongs to the return by token 0. And so the in and out tokens must be derived from that index mapping, not assumed. I'll make matching explicit and robust. Perfect. And then so that will help that, because I figured that was going to be a problem that it may not know about. So not quite a one shot on this, but hey, we're getting there. And then this is why you use plan mode, folks. So if this is your first experience with Claude Code, either terminal mode or in the desktop app here, plan mode is king. It lets you kind of think through, give the not only give the LLM a full context here, but also give you as the human director saying, oh yeah, this is here, that's like here, whichever side token amount 0. See, that's where the edit came from there. And And then handle SIGINT for clean exit and catching errors. That's good. And then it's going to do some verification steps. So, hey, I think that's good. Let's just accept and go into auto mode. So then when you switch into auto mode, it's going to take the all the edits and everything that it needs and not prompt you as much. There's a few things it will prompt you for if it gets into the weeds too far. But now it's just going to go off and kind of do its own little thingamabob and write this code for us, and we'll be able to run it here momentarily. So yeah, if you're just popping in and wondering what's going on, the State Department has issued a directive to limit Fable 5 and Mythos 5 to any foreign national people, and thus we cannot get access to Fable 5 at the moment. So if we have pivoted the stream per the thumbnail you clicked on, it is no longer Fable 5. We're just going to move forward with Opus 4.8 in Ultra Code mode and see what we can come up with, and give a introduction if you've not ever gotten into the Claude Code thing. Show you how you can start interacting with Claude Code and getting data out of whatever blockchain. It doesn't have to be a specific blockchain. It doesn't even have to be a Solidity Ethereum clone. You can go out and say, hey, hook me up to this the Solana network and have it figure out how to watch stuff over there. I'm simply just a JavaScript slash Ethereum nerd, and then that's kind of where I've stayed. All right, perfect. So now it looks like Watchers built, running verified against run it yourself with npm start. So now this is where in later iterations of this, instead of just having a script, you could actually have it run something and then have that talk back to the LLM. But for right now, we're just simply going to go into the right directory here and run npm start. And boom, it's immediately catching swaps, folks. So this is pretty much, we'll call it a one shot, because there was one edit I had to make it so that it would figure itself out. But let's go verify that. So if we go and here's the transaction, and we'll come up here to our transaction interface, and let's see. So it's saying 147. Yep, pulse. Yep. So it's using the correct amount. So let's see. Yeah, so it must be 1,057 in. Yep, there's 1,057 in, and then 147,000 pulse out. So yeah, these are not too bad of a job there, folks. It in about what? We've been online, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes here. I don't even know. And part of the time was talking about how the State Department has dumped access to Fable 5, but in the meantime, we flipped over to Opus 4.8 and got ourselves a simple, oh yeah, see, I spelled it wrong. And I didn't even figure it out, folks. I spelled it chalk like from your construction world, but it's actually chalk from, yeah. There we go. So I even figured out what I meant, and that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, folks, so there, now it is sitting there running, watching swaps on the Pulse Chain blockchain, like it was, like it was easy, because it was easy for it. And so now, let's create and then we'll just leave it in auto mode. We don't necessarily need plan mode all the time. New pairs.js. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to the come up over here, and we'll do boom. And so what we can do is we could watch for new pairs maybe to be, as I know is a common little task that people like to watch is for new pairs to be created. But unfortunately, I'm not set up for any of that, so we're going to have to figure it out ourselves, folks. So then we're going to have to go and rely a little bit. And this is one of the things you got to be real careful about is if you start searching and trusting things, pulse chain, let's see, we'll call it pulse x v2 factory address. So I like to avoid, that's factory router. I like to avoid at all costs relying 100% on the on AI results for addresses, folks, because this is a big thing. AI can be poisoned and tricked into giving you a wrong contract address, and if you interact with the wrong contract, it can be game over sometimes. So let's go and I believe we can trust this one because it is Gemini, and then we just simply verify. We come over here. You use the good old trust but verify. But see, I didn't think that was right. That's the router contract. So see, it even got it. It says it was I didn't think that address was right. It looked too familiar to me. But what we can do is we should be able to come over here, and I believe we can find the factory in the there. Boom. So we can go to the unknown router contract and grab the factory contract, and then go to the factory contract. And then let's go say, let's create a new pairs JS that listens for new pair contracts to be made in the factory contract, which is bam. And then we'll come over here and do new file and do factory.json. And then come back to our factory and pull out the ABI, slap it in here and save it. And then so let's create a new pairs JS that listens for new pair contracts to be made in factory contract, which is we have also added the factory JSON ABI for you. Just one shot that one as well, folks, and see what we get on that. Because this also shouldn't be too hard of a task for Ultra Code on Opus 4.8. It would have been nice to see Fable 5 pull this off, but hey, we haven't on this channel haven't talked anything crypto or anything Claude Code wise. I've kept everything on this channel, and in fact, other than the failed live stream that we had before, this is now my welcome back to YouTubing. I've been asked several times to go live on various things, but unfortunately, life gets in the way. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, I am a medical first responder that is typically on duty during the evening shifts. So, and then I am involved in a couple startups during my daytime. So the YouTube situation just kind of had gotten pushed to the back end there, folks, and just ended up not going live on the crypto channel there for a while. Mainly because there was just a lot of, I was getting tired of a lot of the static that was seeming to come up with various crypto projects, and I kept getting all these requests to promote things that may or may not have been legit completely, or may not have been worth anyone promoting. Who knows, And then so I just kind of stepped away from things, but we're back now, and the natural next step. Let's see. So it's now created and built a new pairs JS here. Can I make that bigger for you? I can. There we go. That looks probably a little better for you guys. And we can actually go, maybe, can you go? No? All right, we'll leave it at that. And so now npm run pairs, or yeah, so they've made a helper script for us here. So we can come over here, pop a new window. We'll leave that swap thing running because that's kind of cool. And we'll fire another one up. And we'll see if it, how quickly someone creates a new pair on Pulse Chain Uniswap v2. It's Uniswap v2. It's a clone there. We'll work with it. Yeah, see, then it even said new pairs created infrequently, so I didn't catch a live pair in the short test window, but the event signature matches ABI and given the same proven contract on situation. So, and it reaffirms that everything is getting the data, but it didn't, because yeah, it says that new pairs are rare, but as we all know in the pulse chain world, things are typically pretty active for new pairs. And if not, we can always watch a bunch of chains, but this should give us something here in a minute. And worst case scenario, I could just go create a pair just to make some events happen if we get to that point here in a minute. Oh, and so I thought it printed something. Nope. But then the natural next step would be have the new pairs automatically start watching a new pair for swaps, chaining in the watcher logic. And then ask, do you want me to wire that up? And that would be the sort of next flow, is where do you want to take this sort of thing? Is, do you want to, instead of being told, hey, let's, instead of being told on the console, why not, if you want to just be alerted of new pairs and new trades, maybe we send that information to Telegram. If you got a Telegram app, you can run the Telegram bot father and then just say, hey, hook this up to Telegram and here's your bot code, and it'll figure out and already know how basically to send that information over to your Telegram. And later on, like as you notice, we've kept this very, very simple. We have not even fed this code a wallet yet. There's no private keys into this yet, because you got to be careful. You never truly know, especially if you're running, not so much if you're running Opus 4.8. We know in general that's not going to necessarily do anything too rogue on us. It may delete some stuff. It may go rogue in itself, when it's coding. But it's definitely not going to necessarily have some unintended payloads in there that now realize it has a crypto wallet that it can liquidate. And that's where we can get into a little bit about talking about skills. As you type the / command here, there's a whole bunch of commands that you can run that are called skills. And unfortunately, due to the nature of things, a lot of people may show you, oh, hey, just throw this, this markdown file in as a skill. And unbeknownst to you, since you're new to things, you've just allowed them to liquidate any crypto that they'd happen to find. Or worse, it may like instruct you to send crypto to somewhere. Like I'm sure you've seen some of the crypto arbitrage bots where you send 0.1 ETH to a contract and nothing ever happens because that's what was intended to happen. They just stole your 0.1 ETH. So I would be very cautious of, if you start getting into this and you're brand new at it, instead of just blindly installing a skill, you can just say, hey, I found this skill. Can you audit it for me and tell me if it's safe and if there's any unintended consequences, any unintended circumstances here. And then the model itself will then take a look at it before executing anything. It'll analyze itself, the code and the skill details, because the skill itself is just a highly detailed prompt labeled in a markdown file. Is all a skill actually is in the end. Is But you can get crafty and hide things and put in tell it to go look at certain URLs for more information, and then totally rewrite all the data that was in the skill file, the markdown file. So yeah, you've got to really watch for those things. So don't just go blindly installing a skill. Get in there and read the skill for one and see exactly what it's doing. If it looks suspicious or if it's calling URLs that you don't fully understand or that looks shady, you can ask if this is a good skill or not, or has any unintended consequences before running it, and it'll do that. It'll just look at the text itself and determine a valued answer or not before it actually runs the skill for you. And it's actually better, in my opinion, for you to actually sit down with a chat session, and in code and work something out. And when you've figured out, okay, we've done this now and we've got it working, and it's something that you're going to want to do, frequently, especially like if you're talking research, or if you're making content, or if you're having to ask the same prompts over and over and over. After you've done it a couple times, just say, hey, can you make this into a skill? And then what that's going to end up doing is, one, you can get a more deterministic answer every time, and it won't have to go out and refigure itself out and relearn things in the new context windows, in a new chat, in your various new chat sessions, if you will. It can know what to do from the skill itself, ultimately saving you either API cost if you're on an API plan, or saving you your session limits if you're paying the $20 or $100 a month to Anthropic. So, alrighty, folks, we're gonna probably have to kind of wrap it up at that point. I was hoping we would see a new pair. I might be able to just go fake something here. Let's see. If I could quickly, of course not. Let's see. I got to start that first. That's the first step of per land. There we go. All right. Let's see. I am definitely not set up for any of this, so I'm just trying to see if I've got a throwaway token here somewhere that I can come up with quick enough. I don't seem to. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Yeah, unfortunately, that one is actually trading. Huh. That sucks. Yeah. Alrighty, folks. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily set up. I mean, there's this one that's broken. I could use. All right, so if I say, yeah, so we'll go V2, add liquidity, and we'll do. And then if we did this versus this, and there. So I did. All right, so I got to enable a couple transactions on another window here, folks. This is what's going on. Hopefully, we see it. All right, and what? Oh, perfect. Something on the right chain. Yeah, fun, folks. Well, unfortunately, folks, I think I'm not set up for this. Unfortunately, so yeah, yeah. I was hoping we could get a situation where we'd see the pairs, and I was able to quickly do something, but I don't have any tokens that I feel like adding a new pair to and figuring all the stuff out right now, folks. And for some reason, I'm getting a strange error. It must be that the token's broken, is why I'm getting that error. So, um, let's see, liquidity V2, add liquidity. I wonder if there's like a. There is, yeah. Yep. All right, folks. I was hoping we would see something, but apparently it is not in the cards for tonight. Oh, that ain't gonna work. That'll work though. And logs. Let's see when the last pair was created to see if we missed it. If we can even see it on this crazy browser. Let me find the other browser that works better. Uh, yeah, I think we're kind of done, folks. I'm not really set up for a lot of this, but at least this gives you an idea of you can use Claude Code to spit out some JavaScript that will, in fact, um, go in and watch for token swaps. So you can see it created some relatively decent JavaScript here. And there's some comments and whatnot. So um, it is definitely going to get you started on your way to using Claude Code and interacting with the blockchain. Um, yeah, let's see, one more little last thing. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't even have that. Um, I'm so not set up to where I would even have a lot of my uh, bookmarks and whatnot so I can get to various things here, folks, and I'm not able to be very effective at this gig. Oh, hey, it finally showed up. Pair created. Um, how long ago was it? Does it tell us how long ago was that? It does not. Let's see. Does it give me the? I just want it today. Come over here. Downloads. It doesn't even show anything. Yeah, that's the wonderful. Maybe I have to go back farther. Maybe. Of course not. All right, folks. Yeah, this is we're baiting a dead horse here, unfortunately. Um, but let's see. So pair created, is that what? Make sure. Let's go new pairs, and let's see if on pair created. So yeah, as soon as that does fire, we should see a an event, folks. But like we don't know. It doesn't give the. Oh, here we go. I guess we can go to this. Oh, 3 days ago. Ugh. So yeah, that's kind of now going to be our waiting game, folks. Is for create pair to get the post factory, but that's not necessarily true because 1 minute ago there was a static call because if you call internally, it doesn't show up here. But this is actually when someone calls create pair, but it's still again it's gonna trigger the event pair created. So we're just kind of in a waiting game for this to happen. So comment down below if you want to see more of stuff like this. I know the channel's been idle for quite a while now. I am slightly motivated to get back involved if people are interested in learning more about how to use Claude Code and Open Code and the various other tools that are out there to make some scripts and watch some things on the blockchain. And hey, maybe ultimately we can actually make it do trades. So comment down below or comment in the chat there for the live stream. If you have any questions, I'll stick around a little while and answer them. And I will definitely catch you in that next broadcast, folks.